Even if you are young, old, male, or female, anyone can experience sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment is a rising issue. It is defined as any form of unwelcome sexual behavior that is offensive, humiliating, and intimidating. May it be physical, non-verbal, or verbal. Did you know that street harassment is the most common form of sexual harassment? 3 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men were sexually harassed at least once in their lifetime. But only few of them reported the incident. Due to global pandemic and increasing of digital world, sexual harassment become more evident. 68% of the respondents says that they have experienced online sexual harassment. And 43% of them says that they also know someone who experienced it in the online world.
Hindi po yun yung simpleng panlalait or panghusga nang babastos po sila.
There will be no victim if there is no abuser. It is not about how they dress. It is about your mindset. It is not about the gender or someone's sexual orientation. If you are a victim, please try to speak. To all the abuser, stop. Stop.
Stop.
Stop this madness. Stop sexual harassment.
Good day everyone, I am here on my advocacy campaign speech on how to say no to drugs. What is drug? A drug is a substance taken for its narcotic or stimulant effects, often illegally or as a modifier. Drugs destroy lives and communities, undermine sustainable human development, and generate crime. Drugs affect all sectors of society in all countries. In particular, drug abuse affects freedom and development of young people, the world's most valuable asset. When you're a teenager, you're constantly bombarded with good and bad advice, life lessons, homework, chores, and peer pressure. That pressure comes in the form of drugs. By this age, it's very difficult to say no to your so-called friends because you might get rejected by some of your peers, even though you might know the real dangers of using drugs. Please remember, it's okay to say no. Don't be afraid to rehearse your reason to say no and put them in practice when the time comes. These examples shows the conversation you need to practice.
Come on, everybody's doing drugs.
Your response?
I think plenty of people aren't doing drugs. Anyway, it's not right for me.
Perfect. Here's another one.
Hey, how would make you feel good?
And you say,
I already feel pretty good, and I don't want to mess that up.
nothing wrong with that.
Try to practice what to say before the situation comes. Again, do not be afraid to say no when it comes to drugs. Thank you. This is my advocacy campaign speech on how to say no to drugs. Raisa May Bumanglag, good day everyone.
How do you see yourself living in a world? The world was at peace and beautiful, full of life, full of colors, and full of beauty. The forest was green and full of trees that give us foods and shelter to live. The air, the water, and the sky was very fresh, clear, and blue.
In fact, the
The earth was beautiful for us to live. The beauty of nature is depend on us, on how we appreciate it, and on how we take care of it.
But now, we're beating it to death. Everything is vanished. The trees that prevent flooding and landslides have been cut down. The water is contaminated. The soil is poisoned. The air is polluted. And now, look around you. The roads, rivers, and seas are filled with so much garbages.
We put the life of the future generation in danger. We destroyed the nature. We didn't realize how special the earth was. But an error does not become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We can work together to create the small differences. We can still protect our Mother Earth. But how?
Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Follow the 3 R's to conserve natural resources and landfill space. Volunteer. Volunteer for cleanups in your community. You can get involved in protecting your watershed too. Educate. When you further your own education, you can help others understand the importance and value of our natural resources. Conserve water. The less water you use, the less runoff and wastewater then eventually end up in the ocean. Shop wisely. Buy less plastics and bring a reusable shopping bag. Plant a tree. Trees provide foods and oxygen. They help save energy, clean the air, and help combat climate change. Drive less. It saves our money and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
If we a world changer, then we a nature lover. Let us save Mother Earth. Let us save our nature. To save us, to save the future generation. Heal nature, heal human.
Land, domestic air and domestic sea travel to and from Metro Manila shall be suspended beginning March 15, 2020 and to end on April 14, 2020.
Chinese authorities say they're investigating a viral pneumonia.
Quarantine of the entire region of the Peninsula, more than 400 new COVID-19 cases, as well as 7 new deaths. There are now 3,660 cases in the country, with 163 deaths.
2020 was the most challenging year in my whole life, and maybe for everyone. We can see that many people suffered and still suffering from COVID-19. Living in this new normal was not easy, and a lot of people are losing their hope. But while there are people who still doesn't believe in this matter, some are blaming the government officials without considering their acts, and some are saying that COVID-19 was just a story made to give fear to people and to lessen the population. I think the hardest thing about it is that people are still looking for something else. They don't want to believe that COVID-19 is real, even as some COVID patients are dying from it. And it makes me wonder, do they want to have COVID first before believing it? We all want to make things normal, but how can we achieve that if there are people who takes COVID-19 as a joke? They doesn't take it seriously. That is why they are doing what they want. Even if it is against to the health protocol. They drink alcohol, they go to mass gatherings, they are not wearing face masks and face shields when they are going outside,
And if you are one of them, I think you are selfish and you are just making things worse. Coronavirus has spread all over the world. Hundreds of thousands of people have been affected and many have died, not just in our country. And this is definitely not a good news. People all over the world are in fear and it is negatively affecting everyone, both physically and mentally. Homeless people and those depending upon daily wages are struggling to live. And this is something that many of us could not even imagine. So here I am telling you that COVID-19 is real. We don't have to see it to believe it. The purpose of this advocacy is to make people believe and see what the real situation of our country is. I think this is not the right time to blame and give hatred to the government officials for being irresponsible. Let us help each other and be cooperative. We are already in year 2021 and I am encouraging everyone to be more understanding because I think this is the great time to pause and to think about what is important. Find ways to help others, come together, be creative in staying in touch with the family, friends, and more, instead of going outside and demanding for so many reasons. And always remember what Aristotle have said, it is our darkest moment that we must focus to see the light. I am praying for you, your family, and for everyone's safety. I am Catherine Reyes and this is my COVID-19 advocacy.
Sadness, problems, fear, brokenness, sorrow, emptiness, keep going. Emotional, psychological, and social well-being all fall into a category of mental health. It has an effect on our perceptions, emotions, and behavior. Perhaps it affects how we cope with stress, interact with others, and make healthy decisions. From youth to adolescence to adulthood, mental health is crucial. According to Mental Health America, 1 in 5 people will experience mental illness during their lifetime. Even with mental illness impacting so many people, there is still a lot of stigma attached to seeking help or talking about mental health issues. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, mental illness are commonplace, with nearly 1 in 5 adults in America living with a serious mental illness. 1/2 of all chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14, with 3/4 by the age of 24. An estimated 7.3 million adults in the United States had at least one major depressive episode. An estimated 31.1% of adults will experience an anxiety disorder at some times in their lives. Approximately 7.9 million adults have co-occurring mental health and addiction disorder. Mental illness is an important concern that needs to be resolved. And while people with mental illness may choose not to talk about it, mental illness is something that we should not be ashamed of. No matter what you're carrying in your heart right now, keep going. All emotion is valid. Please, let it flow. I assure you that whatever is going right now, it will end soon. Keep going and believe that God is in the general area to help you. Do pray. You are important. You are worth it. You are valuable. You are wonderfully and fearfully made. So stand up and keep going. According to Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteousness right hand.
The effect of poverty. First is food insecurity. Next is lack of medical care. They also commit crime. Then, the security of child health care, and followed by lack of educational resources. So now, let's end up together. Let's end up extreme poverty.
Together, let's end up extreme poverty. Some of you familiar in the famous quotations of Nelson Mandela, which he said that poverty is not an accident like slavery and apartheid. It is a man-made removed by the actions of human being. And I believe that was true. Since COVID or pandemic came from, a lot of things become complicated or change. And the number of people who consider themselves as a poor become high. When you imagine that, according to the data that I gathered, the percentage of Filipino who involuntary hunger in May 2020 have at least 16.7% or 4.2 million families, almost double since December 2019, which have at least 8.8% or 2.1 million families. This has the highest number has been since September 2014, which have at least 22.8% or 4.8 million families. We cannot deny it because of the pandemic as well. Many people lost their job because they didn't need a lot of stuff on the company. And now, what is the effect of poverty? The effect of poverty is linked with the negative conditions such as substandard housing, homelessness, inadequate nutrition and food insecurity, inadequate childcare, lack of access to healthcare, unsafe neighborhood, and unsourced school, which adversely impact our nation's children, which are more likely to be exposed to series of negative events and bad luck, including illness, depressions, evictions, job loss, criminal victimizations, and at the end, the family death. And based on my experience, I've been living on Tarlac for almost 5 years, and the living situation on there was very hard. I experienced and observed a lot of difficulties in terms of money, food, and other essential needs of a person. I also witnessed how people make some way to pass the one-day struggle in their life. Some of my friends, tito or tita, tell me stories on how they survive every day. They tell me that they eat at least once a day. And that was an heartfelt broken for me because people should eat at least 3 times a day. The breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just like what I've said earlier, together, let's end up extreme poverty. I want to request or promote my advocacy, which entitled One Ref for Good Health. REF or RHEFF defines for relocations for homelessness, home-based job, since pandemic, educational purposes, free medical check-up, and the last is the food security. The person or people who listen or watch this video, I want you to reawaken and find some ways on how to help other people to rise up on their situation. Even if it's small things, it will help them to start new chapter of their life. I'm Kenneth Ramirez, your advocacy speakers in terms of poverty. Thanks for watching.
The study found that the most of teenagers fell pregnant at the age of 16 and 19. Almost all of them fell pregnant because of lack of parental guidance and role models in their community. Most of them were influenced by their peers who fell pregnant at an early age and were ignorant about the contraceptives. Let's stop teenage pregnancy. Let's help them to educate. I know how hard to become a mother in a young age because I got pregnant at age 19 and yet it was so hard to be a mother. I need to sacrifice some things like continuing my study in college and social life. I need to stop because I have a big responsibility as a young mother. It was hard to be a young mother. So please, let's help everyone to educate them and inform that the teenage pregnancy is not a joke. It's a big impact to us and also to our country. It may cause poverty, illiteracy, and abortion. parents always. Wait for the perfect time. God is always here. This is the end of my speech. Again, I am Rika Jane Candelario, the Teenage Pregnancy Ambassador for today.
Body shaming has become the social norm all over the world. Simple words can strongly affect the well-being of an individual and actually have the power to kill. Is it really okay to body shame each other? Is it really okay to degrade someone using their physical physique? Does it really matter the skin color you have, the height, the body size you gain, or being criticized just because you aren't beautiful enough? Body shaming is known as criticizing or humiliating someone by making impolite comments on an individual's body size or shape, be it on men or women. There are no exemptions at all. They are all experiencing body shame. For men, they are called gay just because their physique is not manly enough, while for women, they are called fat shaming, skinny shaming, and athletically body shaming. Telling someone that there is something wrong with their body that needed to be changed brings a great impact on a person. It is depending on a person on how he will deal with it. Body shaming is also tied with numerous different disorders such as eating disorder, depression, anxiety, and anorexia, and many more to mention. And it could lead to suicide. According to the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorder, or also called ANAD, there are at least 30 million people of all ages and genders that are suffering from eating disorder in the United States of America, resulted in one death in every 62 minutes. 95% of those are in between ages of 12 and 25. Body shaming is unacceptable. The problem with it is that people do not recognize it as an actual problem. I, as a victim of body shaming, by some friends, relatives, strangers, or even loved ones, I just want you all to know, if you haven't already, that it is not okay to joke around others' body. It doesn't matter if it is intentional or unintentional. The thing is, stop criticizing others' physique. Every person is gorgeous just the way she is. And weight, it is not a negative thing that society should talk about. Always remember that weight doesn't define your beauty. Weight shouldn't be a beauty standard. People across the world feels insecure to their bodies and choose not to wear the dresses they would like to wear. If you gained weight, they called you fat. If you are slim, they called you skinny. They have names for everything to call you, no matter who you are and how you look. Instead of labeling ourselves and each other by comparative adjectives, we should accept our own perception of ourselves and our body. It doesn't matter who you are, your ethnicity, your sexuality, your skin color, your size. We are all beautiful on our own. It is the time that we should embrace the gift that we possess, and that is our body. There is no right or wrong way to have a body. Our body is a temple and it is deserved to be worshipped. We should measure ourselves in contentment and laughter, not by inches and pounds. Keeping your opinion in yourself and letting everyone live in peace can end body shaming. Always remember that being skinny is okay. Not being skinny is also okay. Having curves is okay, and not having one is also okay. But shaming others for their body type is not okay.
We need an action. We are aware that before now and then, poverty has proven to be the most significant challenges facing in our country. And more, it is falling into an extreme poverty. The Philippines, our country. We are in the 76th poorest country, all over 195 countries in the world. Every continent and every country has its own problem. But why our country? Why most of the Filipinos are still living in poverty? As a result of this, children are the most affected. Children suffered. Many Filipinos are still living on the street, beside the river, under the bridge. And some families are homeless. The number of uneducated and the rate of crime increasing. Also, the number of deaths increases. It is all because of the poverty. I don't want all the children die from hunger. I don't want them to grow uneducated. I want them to have a bright future. I want them to have a better life, a comfortable life. We need an action to end this problem. We can only end this problem, this poverty, if we have a good leader, a leader who can uplift his countrymen. We can start by choosing the right people in the government positions. Poverty is connected to politics because of the corruption. Wake up, my fellow Filipinos. Do not be fooled on their sweet words. Instead, fall for their actions. The better and progressive country we want is in our hand. So let's take an action for the sake of our nation.
Nananatiling nakaalerto ang buong mundo sa patuloy na pagtaas ng kaso ng coronavirus disease 2019. Umabot na sa humigit kumulang 50,000 kaso ng naimpeksyon at mahigit 1,000 na ang kumpirmadong namatay.
The progress of their students. It is the process of sharing files between teachers and students that they've needed under online discussion. Google Form. It is a kind of platform wherein students and teachers may use it to make surveys and quizzes that would be beneficial on their studies. This school year might be not as easy as what we had before. Online schooling have been very challenging for everyone. Here are some problems that a student and teachers may encounter in attending in his or her online classes. First is the issues on the internet connection. Some students may not be able to join in a meeting because of loss in connectivity on the internet. Second is gadget shortage. Not every teachers and students has a personal gadgets to be used for online learning. Some of them are supposed to share their gadgets with their family members or friends to stay on the meeting. Another issue is the environmental problem, wherein noise barriers exist. Students and teachers may not be able to concentrate on their online classes because of the different kinds of noise from animals, vehicles, babies crying, and many more to mention. Let us remind ourselves that no matter what challenges, calamities, and viruses we encounter in our life, nothing would stop us from achieving our dreams. Aristotle once quoted, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is so sweet." The final question is, now that there is a vaccine already in the Philippines, are we ready to conduct traditional classes again?
Have you ever wondered what a climate change is and how it will affect us and our environment? A climate change is a global environmental issue and the biggest problem we are facing right now. It is a threat to the human health and well-being and to the natural resources here on Earth. A pleasant day to all. I would like to take this moment to make a voice and participate on this ongoing campaign to reduce risk and lessen the effects of climate change. I am not here to solve the issue as an individual, but rather to give insights and encouragement to everyone to act as one in protecting and caring our environment. This will prevent our Mother Earth from further destruction caused by our own activities. We cannot deny the fact that the climate change is increasingly affecting our lives. We are experiencing frequent change of weather patterns. It destroys people, crops in the farm, and water shortage. There is intensive storm, rainfall, and flood because of destruction. There is a rapid spreading of insect-borne diseases because of its survival to new habitat, which can be too cold or too warm. I believe that it is never too late to save our Mother Earth. Let us start changing our patterns and routines. Conserving water by taking shorter shower, turning the lights off when not needed, bringing our own bags when shopping, and recycling our garbage are the few simple ways we can do to minimize the destruction of our Mother Earth. Our urgent cooperation and vigilant action is needed today, not tomorrow. So as the next generation will also experience the brighter world we live in.
The environment. According to Pope Francis, if we destroy creation, creation will destroy us. The environment needs a lot of work. The ozone layer is quickly rotting away. The water are polluted. And the rainforest is rapidly shrinking in size due to the ignorance of land developers. So why isn't anything being done? Everyone thinks if they ignore the problem, it will go away. Granted, many people do more than their share when it comes to taking care of our planet. But it still isn't enough. We all need to get together and start recycling plastic, papers, sorting our trash, reduce cutting down our trees. Did you know one tree can filter up 60 pounds of pollutants from the air each year? Let us protect our nature, our environment. Because of any disaster, storms, earthquakes, flooding, landslide, nature will save us. But what if the nature that is our savior continues to be depleted and destroyed by us, humans? We only get one planet. We should not live on this planet as if we had another one to go to. We should take care of our environment to secure the future of those next generations. Our lands and water bodies, which we have polluted, are all part of this environment. We are living on this planet, and it is our natural environment in which we are assigned to live the life we wish for. But look, environment problem is one of the great world problems. Raising awareness on the most pressing environment issue of our time is more important than ever. Climate change is happening. human causing it. And I think this is perhaps the most serious issues facing us. Conserving water, electricity, and other resources is the most basic thing we could do to help sustain our environment. It's everyone's responsibility to protect the environment because the environment is no one's property to destroy. The truth is the natural world is changing, and we are depending on that world. It provides our food, water, and air. It is the most precious thing we have, and we need to defend it. What's the use of fine house if you haven't got a tolerable environment to put it on? Our planet is going up. It is time to wake up and take action.